Suddenly, hurled by the rapidly approaching pirates with the aid of a makeshift bamboo pole, a flaming ball of tar oil encased in an earthen jar flies through the night air toward the ship. The incendiary jar lands on the Niantic's deck and shatters, narrowly missing an oil-soaked canvas sail, but produces a horrible stench as smoke rapidly envelops the ship's upper deck. Bias pokes at the flaming wad of oozing tar with his bayonet and deftly swings it back into the sea. The fire jar quickly fizzles out, not quite reaching his intended target, the pirate-laden canoe. Two sailors frantically dump buckets of salt water on the still smoldering remnants of flaming tar on the deck. The first thing Henry notices in the streets of Canton are the smells. Wonderful aromas of foods with freshly fried fish, pork, onions, rice, and garlic, along with bakery goods tinged with more noxious odors. The humid weather allows human and animal sweat, urine, and feces to compete with more pleasant odors. He notices next the multitude of sounds at the markets, a tower of babble of dialects and languages mingling with the click-click-click of abacuses used to count receipts. Nearby, he observes the ironic confluence of a wedding party passing by with barrel-sized paper lanterns on 10-foot poles, and a funeral procession of blood-red men armed with spears and clubs ringing deafening gongs and blasting loud fireworks in honor of a Mandarin local who died 3 years earlier. As the storm's fury begins to ebb somewhat, the sailors see a sign that gives some of them hope. The topmost mast spars that Henry and Dingle had climbed are now glowing with a faint blue luminosity. Gentle, brush-like discharges of crackling and hissing atmospheric electricity span the yardarm and the topmast, forming a cross trailing down on the main mast. The eerie effect illuminates all the sailors below, bathing them all in a soft glow of flickering azure light. A halo of light outlines Henry. Ever superstitious, some of the crew take the gleaming as a divine sign they will somehow survive the tempest. there's nothing more exhilarating than getting off to sea. When we encountered the trade winds, the crisp scent of the sea air hit me like an invigorating balm. In life on land, the fastest one can go might be on a horse, but that only lasts a short time as the horse tires and overheats. Sailing is different. At full sail, with the entire crew manning the mast as one and with favorable winds, we can nearly fly. The foaming sea, with sprays of refreshing salt water cooling our sweaty brows and easing our sun-stroked fevers, with the billowing sails rippling and then snapping to attention with a sound like I had never heard before, I have chills of joy. Ropes taut and riggings tight, we are one with the sea and sky. The wooden vessel creaks in a rhythmic fashion, moaning and groaning like a man in love with the sea, while bottlenose dolphins joyfully jump and join our speedy flight. Above, gulls effortlessly soar, twisting and turning occasionally to catch the thermal layers of the azure sun-heated heavens. Euphoria leads to ecstasy, then into a seaboard bliss, as we gallop like foamy steeds over sea, hill, and dale, crashing through mountainous wave tops and sliding down sea valleys at breakneck speeds only to do it again and again, like an eternal sleigh ride on a snowy hill. It was, no doubt, one of the greatest experiences in my life. Our revels now are ended. These our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherits, shall dissolve. And like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep.
Our revels now are ended. These our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air, and like the baseless fabric of this
What shall we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Chuck him in the longboat till he's sober, put him in the longboat and make him bail her. What shall we do with a drunken sailor? Lock him in the guardroom till he gets sober. Put him in the scuppers with a hose pipe on him. Put out the plug and wet him all over. What shall we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Chuck him in the longboat till he's sober, put him in the longboat and make him bail her. What shall we do with a drunken sailor? Time to the Jeffrey winches yardarm underneath him by the leg in a running byline. Scrape the hair off his chest with a hoop iron razor. Give him a dose of salt and water. Stick on his back a mustard plaster. Keep him there and make him Baylor. Give him a taste of the bosun's rope in. What do we do with a lime juice skipper? Soak him in oil till he sprouts a flipper. Whoa.
I feel there is nothing more exhilarating than getting off to sea. When we encountered the trade winds, the crisp scent of the sea air hit me like an invigorating balm. In life on land, the fastest one can go might be on a horse, but that only lasts a short time as the horse tires and overheats. Sailing is different at full sail, with the entire crew manning the masts as one. And with favorable winds we can nearly fly. The foaming sea, which plays on refreshing smoke, water cooling our sweaty brows and easing our sunstroke fevers with the billowing sails, rippling and then snapping to attention with a sound like I had never heard before. I have chills of joy. The foaming sea, with sprays of refreshing salt water cooling our sweaty brows and easing our sunstroke fevers, with the billowing sails rippling and ropes taut and rigging's tight. We are one with the sea and sky. The wooden vessel creaks in a rhythmic fashion, moaning and groaning like a man in love with the sea, while bottlenose dolphins joyfully jump and join our speedy flight. And rigging's tight. We are one with the sea and sky. The wooden vessel creaks in a rhythmic fashion. Above, gulls effortlessly soar, twisting and turning occasionally to catch the thermal layers of the azure sun-heated heavens. Euphoria leads to ecstasy, then into a seaboard bliss, as we gallop like foamy steeds over sea, hill and dale. Crashing through mountainous wave tops and sliding down sea valleys at breakneck speeds, only to do it again and again, like an eternal sleigh ride on a snowy hill, It was no doubt one of the greatest experiences in my life.
As the storm's fury begins to ebb somewhat, the sailors see a sign that gives some of them hope. The topmost mast spars that Henry and Dingle had climbed are now glowing with a faint blue luminosity. Gentle, brush-like discharges of crackling and hissing atmospheric electricity span the yardarm and the topmast, forming a cross trailing down on the main mast. The eerie effect illuminates all the sailors below, bathing them all in a soft glow of flickering azure light. A halo of light outlines Henry. Ever superstitious, some of the crew take the gleaming as a divine sign they will somehow survive the tempest. The thunder-like explosions on the island were beginning to reach us. The earth must have been moving too, as we saw the molten flows emerge from the volcano's crater and head down towards the villages. Still, we headed towards danger, tacking a zigzag pattern into the terrific winds. Then it hit us! It literally hit us, why the captain headed toward danger and had no time to explain. The captain saw it before any of us and ordered the ship's hatches sealed. Our view of the flaming volcano momentarily disappeared, and the captain stopped our zigzagging. The ship was now headed directly towards a nearly invisible wall of water higher than I have ever seen. This enormous rolling wave was larger than any of us had ever seen. The volcano had produced an earthquake, sending a tidal wave, a tsunami, rolling towards us with only a tinge of reflected red lava flames rimming the crest to make it visible.
If the wall of water hit us sideways or from the rear, we'd have no chance.
Only if we could hit it head-on in deeper water did we have a hope of survival. The captain knew this instinctively.
Tie off the rudder and tie yourselves in.
Battling this monster wave would make a Nantucket sleigh ride seem like children's play. The Niantic rose up and up on a wall of water the likes of which few men have ever seen, much less survived. As we reached the summit of the colossal wave, we were perched atop for what seemed an eternity. Then we rolled down the backside at amazing speed with waves buffeting our sides and sails ripping apart in the typhoon-like winds. We were swamped when we hit bottom but popped up like a wayward wine cork after nearly a minute almost fully submerged. Our ship was severely damaged, but we survived.